Hi, welcome to my video on the derivative of a cube root function. And I'm going to find the derivative by the power rule. The power rule is the easiest way to do it. So y equals the cube root of x. Find y prime by the power rule. Remember, the power rule is if y equals x to the n, then y prime is equal to n x to the n minus 1. So the power of x moves in front and the exponent is decreased by 1. So y equals cube root of x. So let's change the cube root of x to x. That's a 1, so that's 1 over 3. Cube root is 1/3. So the derivative y prime is equal to, so the power of 1/3 goes in front, and the 1/3 we subtract 1. So that's 1/3, and 1/3 subtract 1. 1/3 subtract 1, 1 is 3 over 3, so that's negative 2 over 3. So negative 2/3. Now we could leave it like that, or we can go 1 over 3 times 1 over x to the 2/3, which is 1 over 3 times, and x to the 2/3 is the cube root of x squared. So it could be 1 over 3 cube root of x squared. That's a 3 there. And we can rationalize that if we want. We can go 3 cube root x squared, and I need a perfect cube on the bottom, so I need to multiply it by a cube root. So that's a 2. I need one more to make it a 3, so that's the cube root of x. So that becomes the cube root of x, and this is a 3 times the cube root of x squared times the cube root of x is the cube root of x cubed. So that's the cube root of x all over 3x, because the cube root of x cubed is x. Or you could leave it like this, is your choice. When you work, as long as you work the problem out correctly. So let's do a few more examples. What about, we have y equals x cube root of x. Find y prime. So we have to change y equals. So x is to the power of 1, and the cube root of x, that's a 1, so that's x to the 1/3. So this becomes, when you're multiplying with the same bases, you add the exponents. So 1 plus 1/3 is 1 and 1/3, which is 4 over 3. So y prime is, by power rule, 4 over 3 moves in front, and the exponent decreases by 1. So that's 4 over 3x. 4 over 3 subtract 1 is 1/3. So you could go 4 over 3, and x to the 1/3 is cube root of x, or you can leave it as x to the 1/3, as long as you work out the problem that you're going to get in relation to tangent correctly. Now, we want to find the slope of the tangent to this curve at x is 8. So y prime, x is 8, so we need to put an 8 in here. So we can put an 8 in here or here, so it's 4 over 3 cube root of 8. So that's 4 over 3. And the cube root of 8 is 2. So that's 2 over 1, so that becomes 8 over 3. So the slope of the tangent, is 8 over 3. Now we want to continue, find the equation of the tangent at x equals 8. So we have the slope. So the equation is y equals mx plus b. And we have our slope, but we don't have the point. So we take x is 8 and we plug in to here. So x is 8. The equation is y equals x cube root x. So x is 8. Cube root 8. Cube root of 8 is 2. So that's a 16. So this point is, the point is x is 8 and y is 16. The slope is 8 over 3. So we have y is 16. Slope is 8 over 3. X is 8 plus b. So we have 16 equals 8 eighths or 64 over 3 plus b. And if we want, we can multiply by 3 here, because we have an LCD is of this equation is 3. So 3 times 16 is 48. 3 times 64 over 3 is 64. 3 times b is 3b. So that means if we go over here, we have 48 minus 64 equals 3b. So when we subtract here, we get a negative 16 equals 3b. Divide by 3, so b is negative 16, negative 16 over 3. So y equals, the slope is 8 over 3, and the b is negative 16 over 3. So same pattern all the time again, is getting the derivative and subbing in the value of x in, and then finding the point where this occurs at, which is 8, 16, and the slope, work out y equals mx plus b. And one more, which is a little bit different. Find the equation of the tangent at x equals 64. Well, we have the f of x, and now we got the square root of x times the cube root of x. So square root of x is x to the half. Cube root of x is x to the 1/3. So the f of x, and because we're multiplying, we add. So 1/2 plus 1/3 is 6 is the common denominator. So 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. So that's x to the 5 over 6. Because we have the same basis, we can add these exponents. So again, you've got a 5/6. So now we're going to use the power rule. So f prime x is exponent in front, and we subtract 1 from the power. So it's 5 over 6, and we take 1 away. So that's x. So 5 over 6, subtract 1, which is 6 over 6. That makes it negative 1 over 6. So that's negative 1 over 6. And we can leave it like that. As I can show you, you can write it as 1 over, but if you leave it like this, it still works out. So that's 1/6 right there. So we want at 64. So we want to find the f of 64. The slope is 5 over 6, x to the negative 1/6. But at 64, we got 5 over 6, and we have a 64 to the negative 1/6. So it's 5 over 6. The 6th root of 64. Remember 64, you can go 6th root of 64, or the 6th root of 64, 64 is 2 to the 6th, so they cancel out. So you get 2 to the negative 1. So that's 5 over 6 times 2 to the negative 1 is 1 over 2, and that's 5 over 12. So that's one way you can do it. Or you could also say right here, 64 is 2 to the 6th to the negative 1/6. So take your 64 and break it down, which is 6 2s. So the 6's cancel, so I get 2. So you can do it this way. Change 64, 2 to the 6, cancel out your 6's. Or you can do it this way. Anyway, if, I forgot to put my prime in there. The f prime of 64 is 5 over 6. So the slope is 5 over, Slope is f prime is the slope. So at 64, the slope is 5/12. Now we need, at 64, we need to work out what the, when x is 64, the f of 64. So we're taking 64 and we're putting it back in here. We have the square root of 64, and we got the cube root of 64. Square root of 64 is 8. The cube root of 64 is 4. And 4 times 8, put that in brackets, is 32. So that gives us the point x is 64 and y is 32. And we have a slope, which we found out to be 5/12. So let's work that out to get the equation. So y equals mx plus b. So y is 32. The slope is 5/12. The x is 64 plus b. So we got 32. And 4 goes into both of these. So 4 into that goes 3. 4 into 64 goes 16. So that gives us 80/3 plus b. And again, the easiest way to do it, one of the easiest ways, is to multiply by 3. So 3 times 3 is the LCD, so that's 96, 80, 3b. And 96 subtract 80 is 16, 3b. And divide by 3, b is equal to 16/3. So what's the equation? Y equals mx plus b. The equation of the tangent is, the slope is 5/12x, and b is 16/3. Just a little bit of work, but just take your time working these out. And again, this is a little different question. Same we do each one of these to get the equation of the tangent same way. But we just got to be careful with the math. This is why we learn all the math skills back in the earlier grades to work out the calculus now. That brings us to the end. And again, if you like my video, click the like button, click the subscribe button. Visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. That's the content on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained. Just one word. Thank you for viewing my video. Hope the video helped you. Bye-bye.